Some time ago, I was teaching a seminar on leadership and fundraising for mission, and I was in the midst of a section on American funding practices when a young African Bible school principal who was in the seminar raised his hand to get my attention, and this is what he said to me.
I get you, Americans. You have a little basket with a name on each one for all your expenses. Only money for that expense goes in, and the only money that comes out is in the name of that expense. We Africans have one big basket. All of our money goes into it, and we meet the expenses out of that one big basket. Let me tell you a story. I was walking down a dusty village road in Kenya towards a site where an orphanage was to be built. The missions pastor had just given $10,000 to the village pastor to cover the orphanage's cost of construction. Now, as they were walking along, an old man came up, begging some money from the village pastor. He took out his newly acquired wad of bills, peeled off a few, and gave them to the beggar. Whereupon, the missions pastor instantly exploded in anger and exclaimed, "How could you do that? That money was for the orphans." The village pastor answered, "I've known this man for years. What would you have me do? How could I not help him? God will provide." What do you say to that? For clearly, they both thought they were in the right.
It was a powerful question, and the answer lies in a few simple words, not from me, but from voices all over the world.
4 years ago, at the insistence of a number of missions and funding leaders from Africa, Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, and Western nations, a meeting was called to seek a solution to the worrisome problems they all were facing in the giving and receiving of God's money for God's work. They sought a process that could help God's servants work together in harmony, no matter what their role in the mission of God's kingdom was. They appointed a committee selected to represent all the factions. This committee commissioned an in-depth survey to seek out the issues that were creating the problem. People from around the world gave their answers. Months were spent understanding their responses and drafting a document that could be helpful. This document was then sent out for comments again around the world, and more than 800 comments were made, making this a more useful document. A few simple words, a new language of engagement emerged in the form of affirmations and agreements for effective giving and receiving of money in mission.
And that's how the Lausanne Standards came to be.
The Lausanne Standards provide a path for a self-guided dialogue between those who give and those who receive money for God's work. A discussion of respect and giftedness reveals problems. Some may be viewing the donor as a wallet in the pocket of the body of Christ, and in return, donors may use the power they believe comes with money to dominate those who receive money. Solutions are discovered as donors and ministry implementers acknowledge they are called to be wise and gracious stewards, and acknowledge their respect for each other's calling, their unique giftings and personal strengths. In a discussion of cultural differences and interdependency, additional problems are revealed. For starters, they include not understanding the donor's culture and feeling that money is a necessary evil, failing to understand the ministry implementer's culture, seeing them as less than competent. Solutions are found in acknowledging their mutual need for each other as they agree to explore their understanding of the other's cultural concepts. As the ministry implementer and the donor talk about vision and communication, it can reveal other problems. A lack of understanding of vision combined with poor communication about it. Not respecting that the donor too has a vision and calling from God. Not speaking up as problems occur. Being distant, not revealing what they are thinking. This forces the ministry implementer to guess what the donor is really thinking. Solutions emerge as they both develop a clear understanding of their own calling and vision, while taking the time to communicate fully and honestly about problems. When learning and flexibility are not present, significant problems develop, such as maintaining rigid positions, creating an atmosphere of fear and managing carelessly, not planning properly, and not paying sufficient attention to outcomes, demanding unrealistic outcomes and schedules, as well as expecting slavish adherence to plans. Solutions are found as each person develops a learner's attitude to failure and success, being true partners as they work towards jointly shared outcomes. In all of their sharing of ministry, trust and accountability is what each person wants. Implementers want trust, while donors want accountability. And this brings the ministry implementer and the donor together. Now they can openly and honestly discuss the challenges they face. And as they openly affirm one another and agree to solutions, they are entering into the communion of giving and receiving as equals at the foot of the cross.